This is one of the most tricky issues for athletes right now, how to get recruited during COVID. There's some specific things that you can do to really help your situation. But if you're a class of 2021 and possibly even class of 2022, this is going to be a difficult process because the NCAA has allowed athletes to be able to come back and have another year. So with them having another year, coaches are going to stick with a lot of times players that have already been in the program and part of the system, as opposed to getting new players, aka high school athletes, or even some of the JUCO athletes, or even prep school. So that's the number one most difficult thing that you have to deal with. Number two thing that you have to be aware of is the transfer portal. So in this 2021 and maybe a little bit for 2022 as well, the issue is there's been a huge increase in players in the transfer portal signing with Division I programs and FCS programs. How does that affect athletes that are looking to go to schools? Well, ultimately less scholarships. So a simple way to think about it is if a team has 20 scholarships available for their class for 2021, and 5 of those are taken up by transfers, and 10 of those are taken up by players returning that normally would have graduated, that's 15 scholarships gone, which means they only have 5 scholarships available. Now, that's an important thing to understand because it's simply a supply and demand thing. If there's less number of scholarships available, it's going to be much more difficult, and a lot of athletes are going to be in PWO, which means preferred walk-on situation. So it's important to know the school, who the scholarships that they have returning, and ask those questions about that. So if you're interested, if you believe that you really do have that level that you can play at, it's important to ask those questions about what scholarships are available and how many players are going to sign in that class, because you don't want to waste any time with a place that's not going to have any scholarships available for you. So it's real important to figure those things out within that process. COVID has had a huge effect on the fact that you'll have a lot of athletes coming back that might have normally graduated and moved on in their situation from a recruiting standpoint. So it's important to ask the questions about at every school. And the second thing is, if you do want to play in college and there are no scholarships available, what do you do next? So if you're a very good student, I don't recommend going the JUCO route because you lose eligibility each year that you play in JUCO. Go the prep school route if you feel like that you need another year to develop because of that situation, but there's no guarantee. So a lot of athletes have taken preferred walk-ons that would not have normally, or will have to take the opportunity to play at a Division II or Division III level, because if you think about it, if guys who were recruited at FBS level were no longer able to get scholarships, let's say because there are fewer scholarships, they get pushed down to FCS and so on and so forth. So everyone may get pushed down half a level or a level because of the fact that there aren't as many scholarships available. So this is a key component to understanding your recruiting process. Then the next question is, how do I get recruited if I can't get on campus? So everybody's hopeful that this summer we'll be able to do it, maybe the end of spring. Nobody knows the answer to that question, whether we'll be able to get on campus. So there are 3 important things that you should think about. Number one, how are you going to market your capabilities? Whether it's your coach or yourself, how are you going to get that out there? Okay. In the past, there will still be a full slate of independent camps, which means tied to not tied to colleges, which I think are very valuable for building your resume, building your competition base, building your exposure. The summer camps for colleges most likely will be back this year, but we don't know. So you can't take a chance that you're hoping for that like you did last year, like a lot of athletes did last year, and it doesn't work out. So a really key component is to figure out how can you showcase your skills. So one of the ways you could do that is do a virtual combine. I've seen colleges like Penn State send instructions for it. We have instructions for it at NUC Sports, and we'll break out that film for you. But they're doing a virtual combine, following the parameters that the school outlays, asking that school what they'd like to see, and then doing those drills, videoing them, and sending them out. Okay. Camp film, if you go to independent camps, if you can get yourself camp film from these combines or camps, you're going to have to utilize that until things go back to normal. Usually it's used for purely exposure, but now you might need that film. Okay. Obviously, your game film, if you got to play this year, your game film is important. If you didn't get to play this year and you played in an all-star game or you attended a camp, you're going to have to use whatever film you have or do a virtual combine and send that information. It's not as good as what you would normally get, but it's definitely better than doing nothing, okay? Or 7-on-7 as well, if you're with a club 7-on-7 team. The next thing you have to do is how do you position it out there? You're going to have all of your traits that make you a recruitable player, be able to tweet them, email them, text them, whatever opportunity you have to reach out. And you're going to have to reach out over and over again. If you don't reach out over and over again, you're going to limit your opportunities, okay? That's a critical component to it. You got to reach out over and over again, okay? I would make phone calls to the schools that you're most interested in and talk to their coaches and see if you're someone that's going to be on their radar screen. I would do all of those things in order to put yourself in a better position, okay? And then finally, you're going to have to see if you can schedule appointments with coaches that you can get on Zoom or whatever online conference call program they use to be able to meet them in person. I recommend making a video of yourself, introducing yourself, showing all your intangible size, height, weight, and reach, doing all those kind of things, your wingspan, and then also showing your athletic skills with an introduction to who you are, what kind of student you are, why you think you could be a Division I player if that's what you're looking for, what it is you love about the game, just so they could get a little bit more insight because they may not get to meet you. And then hopefully you could schedule that Zoom call or conference call with them where they can meet you online before, if they're not having a junior day or some sort of opportunity there. If things open up, you got to attend junior days, you got to get on campus, combined with all the other things that I already mentioned. Okay, you're going to have to be proactive in this process more than you've ever been. Okay, and just to get in a situation where you think that if you think that not, waiting for someone to show up at your door, this is not going to happen anymore. It doesn't happen anymore, period. Okay, there is no such thing as being discovered where you could send 100 links and they get 10,000 of them. You have to be persistent. You have to showcase yourself. You have to show why you're different. And you've got to put multiple things together that can help you from that standpoint. Hopefully these things can help you get recruited. If you get a chance, subscribe to my channel, NUC Sports, NUC Football. Follow, give us a like, comment if you have any questions. If there's a video you'd like to see me do, hit in the comments a video you'd like to see me do, because I'll be glad to do it for you and answer those questions for you. All right. Coach Schuman, signing off.